Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Update: I, 26 male, have always been the scapegoat of the family. Now that I got money, I suddenly have their attention. Original post. Do you remember the stereotype of the oldest kids that are the victims of all the trauma their parents put them through? It kind of applies to me, considering I always was the one to blame for everything. They were nice for the first 6 years of my life before my twin siblings were born. Then suddenly I was the one they blamed for everything, and I was the one that had to learn everything by myself. It's like pushing someone in cold water so that they are forced to learn swimming if they don't want to die. My parents did the same, except that they didn't stop at swimming. I never got any help for homework. They wouldn't wash my clothes. They just put me in front of the washing machine and told me to figure it out, while they took care of my 2 younger twin siblings who are my sister and brother. If you think it's messed up that they haven't even told me how to do it, they also never cooked food for me too. They just said I should cook for myself. At 8 years old, I stood in front of the stove and cried and didn't know what to do. After half an hour of me just standing there and crying, they finally gave me something. This continued for my entire childhood. With my siblings, however, it went totally different. They spoiled them to death, did everything that I wished they did for me, and even cleaned their rooms for them because they didn't want them to try too hard. Unlike me, they also got pocket money. That was something I could just dream of. I hated my siblings for getting all this while I got nothing, even though it wasn't their fault. If my siblings did something wrong, they told me that I should have taught them better, like it's my responsibility to raise their children. I found a job at 17 and moved out as I couldn't bear it any longer. While life was hard, I finally was able to find a well-paying job, and from that, I started my own business with my best friend. It's a small IT company with only 6 employees besides us, but we make a really good money each month. We even have our own small office. I cut off contact with my parents a long time ago, after they said that I'd probably crawl back to them after 2 months because I'd be poor. Not only have I proved them wrong, right now I make more money each month than both of my parents combined in half a year. And of course they found out about my business. I already expected what they said before I even knew. In a condescending way, they demanded I give them 40% of my monthly income. They say I owe it to them for raising me. I owe those pieces of trash nothing, and I told them that. But they call and text me every day demanding more and more money. I just cannot stand the audacity of these people. But the best part is this though, a few weeks ago, my parents asked me via text message to give my siblings a job at my company because they were terrible at every job they had gotten so far. So I planned to let them do internship for a week, but figured that they couldn't even clean properly. My parents never taught them, and spoiled them so much that they couldn't even handle a regular broom. Needless to say, I declined, and my parents threw shade at me again. I tried to block their numbers once, but they just changed them and tried contacting me again. I never planned to reconcile. They treated me badly my entire childhood, which unfortunately does not exclude physical violence from time to time. They do not deserve my time nor my money. I am more independent now than I ever was before, and I feel great about myself. I'm proud of what I achieved, and I know I am way better than them. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. You are making your own life. Maybe someday you will make your own family too, and the trauma of your upbringing will teach you how to do it right. I'm proud of you. Yes, I have a friend for whom this is true. She used her bad upbringing as a counter-example. Now she's an amazing parent and adopted us as her family. I am so proud of you for creating this business that supports you, but also supports the many other people who work with you. If I had to deal with what you describe, I would do as you have done. Keep being awesomely successful. It's funny how they spoiled these kids thinking they would be prodigal kids, and now can't fix their issues, so they try to force the one they neglected into helping them look like better parents. Law. Depending on where you are, getting a no-contact order against them wouldn't be a bad idea. Exactly. I won't help them with anything, and have also thought about doing something like that. Like they say, you've made your bed, now lie in it, and I think it perfectly fits. My favorite proverb is the axe forgets, the tree remembers. I'm so proud of you for getting out and working hard to be successful. Your happiness is the biggest FU to your parents. I think a restraining order is necessary in your case, just to be completely done with them. They don't deserve you in their lives. Take care, OP. We're all rooting for you. Very proud of you. I'm a 34-year-old woman with teen sons and 2 young girls, and I treat all of my kids equally. This wasn't so with my mom, as I have 2 younger sisters, twins, who were born when I was 5. Until they were born, I was the center of attention. After they were born, I didn't exist to her. In fact, she put me in foster care at 15 and kept them, and rubbed in my face that they got to do everything as a family that I didn't. And then I came into a lot of money from a car accident, and she suddenly wanted a relationship with me. And because I so desperately wanted a relationship with her and them, I fell for it. At 18, I had a ton of money, and when it ran out, suddenly I didn't exist again. So I went no contact. I struggled, but I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and going no contact with them has been the best decision of my life. Good job for starting your own business, and don't let them bring you down. You got this. And unlike my mom, you sound like an amazing mother. Now for the updates. I want to let you know that you convinced me to get a restraining order. I don't know if this really helps because I know them too well, but it's worth a try. Thanks all of you. Full update 2 months later. It's been 2 months since my original post, and many of you asked for an update, and maybe it's time for that. Actually, many things happened during this time. The real significant thing is that, after I refused to help my parents, they actually started doing literal propaganda against me to my siblings. I don't know what they tried to achieve there, as I didn't give a damn about what my siblings thought about me, but it still only shows their true nature. However, my sister recently visited me in the office. Unlike her brother, she didn't fall for our parents' lies, and she told me that she isn't dumb, and after failing many attempts to step into adult shoes, she realized what they had turned them into. She asked if she could stay with me. She asked if I could give her some sort of a 101 in life. Her brother should probably get something like this too, but he's too stubborn. The thing is, I don't hate my siblings. It's not their fault they were born into this family, and it's not their decision that they were treated the way they were. Just imagine the amount of humiliation for both parents if I am the one to fix what they had messed up. So I decided to help her. She is old enough to decide this for herself, but I told her that the moment she brings up my money, I would throw her out in an instant, just in case this is just another attempt of them trying to get money from me. But I don't think it is, because they wanted her to stay with them again. And when she refused, they called her a traitor, like she changed sides with their worst enemy or something. And I don't know why that amuses me so much. She did learn a few things pretty quickly, and I guess soon she is able to be fully independent. But as for her brother, my younger brother, he is so focused on his parents and still believes all their lies, so I have almost zero hopes for him. By the way, before anyone asks this, I thought about getting a restraining order, had no idea how hard it is to get one where I'm from. So I blocked their numbers, and when it didn't work, I got a second number. They are currently spamming the second number, and I enjoy the peace on my original phone number. To end this, I'd like to thank all of you for your support. I even got many DMs about people asking for jobs. That gave me a good laugh as well, but jokes aside, we have a complete team and currently aren't looking for more employees. How's your business as of late? Pretty good, to be honest. Success is always the best revenge. What if she asks how to handle financials? That's something they woefully do not teach in schools, and few people ever think to ask their parents. That's a different thing. If she brings up how to handle financials, that's okay, because that's a good thing to know. But in order to do that, she doesn't have to bring up my financials. This line will get blurred if you use yourself as an example when teaching her. There's nothing wrong with being open about finances. That depends on who brings it up. I have to assume that what she is doing could just be another attempt of my parents to take my money. If I bring it up to teach her, that's okay, but if she brings it up, I have to be careful. Congrats on your success. You don't owe anyone and you made your future happen. I hate that your parents think you owe them for raising you. Excuse me. They chose to become parents, and that comes with basic responsibilities. Not only that, they gave you bare bones, minimal basic childhood, and treated you poorly. And now your parents expect you to give them 40% of your earnings just because you're wealthy now. GTFO. Entitlement right there. Last story. My sister is infertile and I'm glad. I, 28 female, have an older sister, Angela, 30 female, whom I have never liked. She always had to compete with me, but never in a normal sibling rivalry way. Our entire life she always seemed resentful of my existence, as the spotlight couldn't perpetually shine on her, so she had to step on everything I enjoyed. So if I learned piano, she had to learn piano. If I excelled at a subject, she suddenly became a scholar in it. If I told my mom I had a crush, Angela would be dating that boy in a week. I would always tell my parents when she did this, but I was ignored, because sisters copy each other, and I can't gatekeep what she likes. She always monitored what activities I did and the clothes I wore, so she could outdo me. If I wore a flannel, Angela would come to school wearing an all-flannel dress. It was 2010 and that was peak fashion in our school LMAO. There was also more praise that followed Angela. Even if I took the initiative to begin the activity first, she was praised because she was better. My parents would miss work to attend her dance recitals, going to every single one because the world would stop if they missed it. However, I remember maybe 2 of mine they attended, because they were stuck at work or were otherwise preoccupied. Angela reveled in this. She would make comments under her breath around our parents. Whenever our parents weren't around, she'd tell me how much she hated me and how I should stop trying because I would always come second to her. She also physically bullied me in school. Angela purposely tripped me, threw things at me, and hit me in the hallways on a nearly daily basis. The school had gotten involved multiple times, threatening Angela with suspension, and my parents fought it every time. My parents repeatedly told administration that this was a family matter and we were just bickering like normal sisters. She was never once reprimanded by either parent. Once, Angela was caught impaling a cat on the school fence, and my parents still defended her, saying this was normal teenage behavior. But I often was in trouble as Angela would start crying, saying how she was being targeted by the school when I had antagonized her. After one of these occasions, Angela cut and bruised herself to prove to Dad that I was the aggressor. I became a pariah due to Angela's malicious rumors about me, so it was difficult for me to make friends, so I resorted to only befriending people from other districts. Angela eventually made sure I had nobody by stalking them, befriending them, telling all my friends lies about how I was favored by our parents, and I constantly bullied and belittled her. She even stole boyfriends of mine doing this, convincing them I was horribly mean and an awful person that copied her every move. Once she catfished me on MySpace for 4 months and baited me into sending her nudes, which she proceeded to send my parents and everyone in school, including teachers. Later on, she told one of the boys I liked that those were actually her pictures and I had catfished her. The day of my high school graduation, my mom sat me down and told me Angela revealed the horrid harm she'd suffered at my hand, and I was no longer welcome in their home. After moving out the next day, my parents made very few attempts to communicate with me, only the occasional holiday and birthday text. All financial help was also abruptly ended as soon as I stepped foot on campus. I met my now husband shortly after this, and we were married within a year. They did not feel inclined to attend my wedding or even congratulate me. I even informed my parents when I had my first child 8 years ago as an opening, but they have made no attempt to contact or meet any of my 3 children. Best I know of Angela now from what I've heard is that she got married to one of the boyfriends she stole from me in high school, and she's been posting about her infertility issues and how she can't offer my parents their first grandbaby. After years of silence, I received a text at 8 this morning from my mother that I will copy and paste below. "Hey OP, it's me, your mama. We haven't talked in a while and I surely miss you terribly. I wanted to let you know that your sister just had a miscarriage earlier this week. Angie and Justin are struggling a lot right now, so send something a little sweet her way. I'm sure she'd appreciate it. Get back to me. I love you." I hate to say it, but I'm glad she's suffering. I'm glad she doesn't get to be a mother. If she tormented me for years, what would she do to a child? Especially a girl. I don't wish death on any baby, but I know in my heart that child would be damaged by her. I'm angry at my parents for expecting me to have any sense of obligation to her, when I don't even have any sense of obligation to them. They always believed her and dismissed me. I was always the problem child, and it's strange how my mother can be so warm to me when asking me to do something for my sister. Also, the fact they cared more about my sister's now dead fetus than my actual children, who wonder why they only have one set of grandparents. I feel some sort of guilt for it, but I refuse to offer any condolences to my destructive narcissistic sister, who has been justified in her bad behavior since birth. Maybe this will change her, help her develop empathy or any type of emotion that isn't hate or vindictiveness. If that happens, I would be more than willing to offer support, but until then I feel nothing but a small inkling of happiness that she's hurt. Am I awful for this? Now for the comments. Don't exist in that place anymore. Your mother didn't even ask about your kids, and it almost sounds like she wants to make Angela feel better at your expense. None of them should be able to contact you at this point. They should be blocked everywhere. It's not worth the upset, and this level of animosity takes a toll on you whether you realize it or not. Schadenfreude is one thing, but this is something else. If you haven't had therapy already, get some. Of course her mom didn't ask about her kids. She doesn't even know they exist. They've been radio silent for years. Shows how little mom knows or even cares about her daughter. Didn't she try to invite her mother after her first child was born? Pretty sure she knows they have grandkids, the parents just don't acknowledge them as theirs, because they aren't from the golden child. OP is better off without any one of them. No. And you should report her pattern of behavior with every adopting agency you can think of. This isn't the time to wonder if you are the bad guy, it's time to both save bunches of kids and ruin her life. Right. I was thinking the county needs to know, so she can't adopt or foster through DCFS too. I'm glad too. She sounds awful. I hope she doesn't adopt. Personally, I would block them all and continue living my best life. The only thing those kinds of relationships are good for are from medical history. Honestly, that impaling a cat on the fence at school sounds like the start to psychotic or psychopathic behavior, and she should have been put in a mental hospital as soon as that was discovered. You sound like you are growing into a lovely family over the years, so try not to let those awful people into your life or the life of your family. Never look back. Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Update: just learned my fiancé was a serial cheater in her previous relationship. Original post: I'm in my mid-30s, and my fiancé is early 30s. We've been together for 2 years, 1 year living together, and got engaged this past December. Her ex reached out to me over social media recently to warn me about her past. He was with her for 12 years. She hooked up with 3 guys in year 3 of their relationship. They were long distance for that year and only saw each other on weekends, holidays. He said he had a few minor indiscretions too during that time, so he chose to forgive her and reconcile. They moved in together and the relationship was going great, and he was even thinking about proposing, when she had a month-long affair in year 7. When he found out, he broke up with her, and she decided to try a polyamorous lifestyle for a few months before trying to get back together with him. He said she was very remorseful, went to therapy, etc., so he decided to give her another chance. The relationship returned to a happy state for the next few years, until she had a 3-month-long affair with a co-worker in year 10. This was very disturbing because she was pressuring him to propose to her at the time and started to withhold intimacy from him, all while she was sleeping with someone else. He said that his self-esteem was very low at the time, and he gave into the sunk cost fallacy, so they tried to reconcile. She was not very remorseful this time and blamed him for the affair because he would not propose. They went to therapy again, and he eventually did propose to her in year 12. That's when he discovered that she had been messaging her old affair partner shortly after proposing to her, and then he broke it off for good. I was really shaken after learning all of this, so I asked a friend of hers if this stuff was true, and she told me that based on what she knew, it all sounded true. Now I don't know what to do. I love her so much, and she's my entire world. I don't suspect that she ever cheated on me for the 2 years that we've been together. It's been such an amazing 2 years. We never really talked about her past, and I knew that she'd been engaged, but she just said they grew apart. I confronted her about it this week, and at first she said that he was jealous and lying about her past, and she can't believe that I would believe a story like that. I told her I got confirmation that it was true, and she broke down crying, begging me not to leave her. She said that she has changed so much since then through therapy and self-reflection, and that she's a completely different person now. I find that a little hard to believe, since we met only 8 months after her previous relationship ended. Can people really change so much in 8 months? I'm currently staying with my brother until I can figure out what to do. I'm bothered by the behavior patterns. She pressured him to propose while cheating on him, and then cheated on him again when they were engaged. She also pressured me to propose. I was happy to do it since I'm at that stage of my life where I really want to get married and start a family. And I really don't think that she's ever cheated on me, but I wonder what may happen if and when our relationship gets a bit stale, or if I get very busy with work. What do you think I should do? Now for the top advice before reading the update. My ex-wife cheated on her fiancé a year before meeting me. I never knew the reason for their breakup, she just said he was harmful. Red flag missed. 8 years into our marriage, she cheated and never said she was unhappy to me. Past behavior is a good indicator of future behavior. What bothers me are the details I learned. She went to therapy multiple times for this in the past, and it didn't work then. Also, the way she cheated seems especially cold to me. Pressuring her ex to propose and stopping intimacy with him, all while she was having an affair with someone else. Who does that? I would never in my wildest dream do something like that. That's messed up. But it just means this is her way of dealing with crap versus being an adult. You don't want that after you have kids, trust me. That's what I fear the most. We've had an amazing relationship for 2 years. I really feel that she is my soulmate. But what happens when the shiny newness rubs off and life gets more stressful? I confronted her about it this week, and at first she said that he was jealous and lying about her past, and she can't believe that I would believe a story like that. I told her I got confirmation that it was true, and she broke down crying, begging me not to leave her. She said that she has changed so much since then through therapy and self-reflection, and that she's a completely different person now. There's your first really big freaking clue right there. Her first reaction was to lie and gaslight. Like, I can't believe you'd believe that guy. What's wrong with you? There's no guarantees that she will or will not cheat on you, but if I was a betting man, I'd say that come year 4 or 5 or whatever, you're going to get cheated on. Agree, going to therapy and owning what you did is the only way to begin to resolve and grow. If she immediately lies and gaslight, in addition to pressuring you to marry her, I would take a huge step back. Having gone through infidelity after marriage and with kids, it's a nightmare, and I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. If you want to try to work it out, I would recommend couples therapy, and she allow you to go through her phone etc. to start a baseline of trust. After I confronted her, she gave me access to her phone and laptop. I didn't even ask. I gave it a casual look over, but I didn't suspect anything and didn't find anything. I don't ever want to be in a relationship where I feel I have to snoop. Update. Well, it's all over, folks. Thank you to all who made such a great effort to show me the light in my previous post. It was very helpful in forming my resolve. I met up in person with my now ex-fiancé and he gave more sordid details about how unforgivably cruel and evil she was towards him. He also told me that I should look into her work phone, since that was how he caught her messaging her old affair partner 3 years ago. Long story short, I asked to see that phone, and she gaslit me again and refused to show it to me. I gave her an ultimatum that either she show me or I walk away for good. She wouldn't budge, so I walked. About 10 minutes after I left, she caves and says I can see it. Too late. I blocked her on everything. I don't ever want to see or hear from her again. I'm sure she has cheated on me, but I don't want to know anything about it. All future communication with her will be through a third party and only to work out loose ends and logistics. Thanks again, everyone. Peace. Smart. You know, she deleted everything in those 10 minutes. Buy her previous ex a thank you gift. He saved your butt. Now make sure you do the same for the next fool. Damn, I might make him the best man at my wedding, if that ever happens. My trust in women is at an all-time low at the moment. I commented on your first post. I'm glad you're out. Deception is oozing from her. This is going to suck really badly for a while. You do what it takes to get through this very hard part, and the trust in women will return. As with your hopefulness and sense of being carefree. Right now, you feel like you're trying to breathe through cement. You're going to cry, get angry, say stupid things, and maybe talk to her again. That's all okay, because it's how we cope. What matters is that you've chosen self-respect over continuing in a relationship that looks shiny but is ugly beneath the surface. You're a good egg, and trust us all when we say that you did the right thing. I'm excited for you to find someone that shares the same values as you, so you can build a wonderful life together. Best of luck, stranger. The ex has been your guardian angel. He deserves a Reddit round of applause. Yes, he does. Poor guy. At least I got out after 2 years, instead of 12 like him. You should be proud of yourself. Many of us have stayed much longer because we were gaslit and manipulated. You stood your ground and stuck to your word. My ex-husband did the same with telling me after that I could see the phone, but he'd already deleted stuff. I saw some things when I snooped, so I knew. Even if she told you to how she'd cheated, I guarantee she will trickle truth you. Only chance cheaters might tell the truth is when they are the ones that come to you and admit straight after doing it. I will never understand why people hide or cheat. What is the point of being with someone if that's their intention? Honestly, you dodged a bullet. I hope you find someone deserving of you. Next story. Am I the bad guy for feeling this way? My wife had cheated on me and is currently in a relationship with the other guy right now. Some info about us. My wife is the type of person who always needs to have somebody to talk to. She craves and thrives off of attention. If I go an hour or so without texting her back, she would get annoyed. I am the opposite. While I believe it's nice to have somebody around to talk with, I don't necessarily need it, and I can be perfectly fine if I go a couple of days without talking to or seeing anybody. The other guy is obsessed with her. He wrote her letters telling her how much he loves her, how in love with her he is, how beautiful she is. When she goes a few hours without responding because she's busy with something, he would text her every 20 to 30 minutes that he misses her and he's thinking of her. He would call late at night, and when she ignores it, he calls again. He got her name tattooed on his body. He would regularly buy her gifts. So, she goes from having little attention from me to receiving a whole lot of it from him. We met the other night to have a discussion because she knew I wanted answers. I asked her how she can do this to me, and she said that the truth of the matter was that she didn't feel like our marriage was worth fighting for anymore, and she gave up. Why should she continue to put energy towards her husband that obviously isn't reciprocating the effort, when there's a guy who is literally throwing attention directly at her? She did what she did so she can finally be happy. However, she still loves me, still cares about me, and wishes me nothing but the best and happiness. She tries to tell me that she wants to see me succeed, and hope that my next relationship will turn out better than ours did. If you were to ask me, she was so desperate to try to be happy that she was willing to do whatever it took regardless of who it hurt, and that is selfish AF. I am going to be honest, I can't say that I wish the same for her. She can tell me the nicest things, paint the prettiest picture for me, wish me nothing but the best a million times, but the fact of the matter is, she gave up on not only our marriage, but on me as well. And while I don't wish any physical harm on her or her family, I do hope that lightning strikes down on them, and it strikes them hard, especially the other guy, because he continued to pursue my wife knowing that she was married. She can tell me that she hopes that my next relationship turns out better, but I honestly can't say that I hope for the same thing for her relationship with this other guy. I am very close with her family, and they are still in contact with me because they feel for me and they don't believe that they will last at all. I may actually point and laugh if it ends up crashing and burning. She tells me her reasoning was that she wanted to be happy, and if I love her, I should want her to be happy. The truth is, I'm not sure that I can say that I wish for any happiness for her at all. She was telling me about how her life suddenly became a lot more complicated, and she barely has any time for herself now, because she went from having just me to him and his 2 kids. I would be lying if I said I feel any sympathy for her at all, because this is the life that she chose. I also don't wish anything on the kids because they have nothing to do with this. If anything, I may actually find joy in watching her realize how much harder her life is now that she has a full-blown family to take care of, and I don't feel bad for any hardships that come her way at all. Am I wrong for wishing nothing but the worst for her, when she tells me she wishes nothing but the best for me? Now for the advice. Love bombing like that is actually an enormous red flag that she apparently doesn't even see nor understand. I wouldn't worry about a happy ending to that relationship. Stock up on popcorn. You have better things to do with your life. Move on. Don't get drawn into her drama. When I first found out about the guy and tried to warn her about these obsessive tendencies, her answer to me was, God forbid he pays attention to me. Bluntly, use her love brain fog to get the divorce done and over. Most US states have little leeway on property division, and it is 50-50. Getting the divorce then laying low will get you the result you desire. People like her are exhausting long term. I'm sure you know that. I know that from my ex who cheated on me. She craves attention and validation, and she'll probably move on from this guy when she's bored and he stops worshiping her after a year or 2. When people mention being happy in life, and that's all they literally mention, not anything else like responsibility, devotion, honesty, family, etc., these are the people who ironically are never happy. I know you're in a rough spot mentally and emotionally right now, but this is a chance for you to take a new direction in life without someone who is sucking the life out of you. Oh, and screwing another guy. That too. You will be okay. Get support from family and friends. Take up interests you have in new hobbies, and I also highly recommend therapy as well. It's hard, but long term you'll be so much better off. Truly. I wish you well. People like that view happiness as a destination, but it's always the next person, next job, next house, etc. that will make them happy. They never actually reach the destination. They just leave a path of destruction in their wake and have no regard for other people. My ex-wife thought she had found it and basically told me that she chose him and nothing would change that. So the next day while she was at work and kids were at school, I packed up and moved out. 3 months later wanted me to come back, but I had moved on and said no. Last story. Girlfriend of 10 years cheated on me with her boss who's also married. Title pretty much explains it. I've noticed for a while that she was acting distant towards me and that she was really close with her boss at work. She told me they were just close friends, so I believed her. One day she left her smartwatch out and I noticed he was messaging her a lot, so I checked the messages. There were messages where she said good morning love, and he also messaged her saying that he couldn't get her out of his head. This was 8 months ago, and you would assume this was enough evidence, but she basically gaslit me. She told me she calls him love as a joke and that he was thinking about her because they had an argument at work. She told me I was crazy for thinking that and that I was horrible for not trusting her, so I ended up believing her. For the past 8 months I've been trying to make it up to her because I felt so bad about accusing her. Well, a few weeks ago she left her phone out, and I had this weird feeling in my stomach, so I checked her phone again, the first time I did so since the 8 months when I checked before. This time I saw she messaged him and told him she loved him. He told her he was jealous of me because he wanted her all to himself, and she told him that he did have her all to himself. She also messaged her best friend and told her about the hookup they had and how great it was. She went into detail about how many times he made her finish, and that it was great to have intimacy that she enjoyed again. Ouch, and her friend was telling how happy she was for her. Her boss is also married and has a wife. I messaged his family and told them everything, and none of them believed me. My ex and her boss both came up with a story that I was jealous of their friendship and didn't know what I was talking about, and they believed them. The worst part is not knowing how long it was going on for. Apparently, her sister told me she had suspicions about them almost 2 years ago, but didn't have proof and thought she was overreacting. They had a work trip in Texas 2 years ago, and there are pictures of her with his arm around her, and she also came home with a necklace she said she bought, which I think he bought for her. But yeah. I'm 31 and she's 33 and her boss is 60, so it really messed with my self-esteem. I don't know how much of our 10-year relationship was true. She never told me the truth about anything. The only things I know are what I found out myself, and she refuses to tell me anything more. We are split up now, and I know she's going out on his boat with him after work all the time. I thought about hiring a private investigator so I could expose the both of them, but at this point I can't be bothered. I want nothing to do with either of them. I've never felt more broken and betrayed in my entire life. The fact that someone who I was so happy with is now living her best life with someone else crushes me. It's like I never even knew her at all. You're only 31, you can start over. Let him have her, she's trash anyway. Once she comes to the realization that he will never leave his wife and family, or he replaces her with someone younger, she will come crawling back to you. Don't take the bait. Work on improving every aspect of your life. That's really good advice. Thank you. I had a breakup after 12 years, where the other person had multiple emotional affairs and lied about so much. I did not and would never cheat. When I asked for a separation to rebuild trust, he took a sledgehammer to my life and spun all these lies that I was the unfaithful one and he was a victim. Most friends didn't believe him, but my family did. It was crushing. I thought about trying to expose him. The best thing anyone told me was, you know your truth. It let me accept the reality that he lied in a manner intended to separate me from my support network, and those people believed him, and if they believed I'm that sort of person, they don't know me at all. I let them go and they can all have each other. I'm still sad or angry occasionally, but bottom line is, I do know my truth and they're not worth any more of my energy. Life is too precious to waste. Know your truth and honor yourself. So the boss's wife still doesn't believe they are cheating. I am in that age range. She probably knows and doesn't care or doesn't intend to give up her lifestyle. I would hazard a guess this isn't wife's first rodeo. Yeah, she and the kids freaked out on me and said they would sue for me slander. Like, it was wild.